evening. This is tonight's Tilton Talk Show, and we've got loads to talk about. So joining me, we've got the chairman of the board, Alan Watton.
Good evening, everybody.
We've got the old man of the group now, because it was his birthday on Saturday, Craig Courtney.
Hey, Leslie the old. Good evening, everyone.
Hey.
We've got all the way from America, Mark Mevedy.
Good evening, Miss Giblin. Good evening, everyone.
We've got my new best friend. Unfortunately, he's from Coventry. Got Mark Adams.
Hello, everybody. Are you all okay?
All good.
I live
I
in
wouldn't
Coventry.
admit to him being your friend.
Hey? No, I live in Coventry, but I'm not from Coventry.
Yeah, well, he's from there now, isn't he? And then we've got the main man himself, Chris Browne.
Good evening.
Paul's in a hotel somewhere, chilling and relaxing, so he's stuck with me, basically.
Oh, well.
So it hasn't been very good. So we've had 8 defeats now in 8 away games, so I don't know if we can get any lower. We've got fans fighting as well. And in the concourses, we've got people having a go at people. So we'll see how tonight goes. So I think 3 of us went to Coventry. I think Watto went, and I joined Mark Adams as well. And obviously the rest of us watched it on TV. So, Alan, what do you reckon? What did you think of the game?
What did I think of the game? Well,
God.
as soon as I saw the team sheet, I ruled out any chance of a win. We played all right for 20 minutes. We pressed them and did that, and looked like we might score, but finishing was shocking.
Yeah.
And then there was an incident about halfway through where Bakuna, playing in this sort of half right back, half right wing, piled into their bloke and got booked. And from that moment on, we were like an open door down that side, because he couldn't put a tackle in. And he was outnumbered all the time. And from that moment on, it was just a case of how many. The annoying thing was that their strike force was frankly pathetic. Had they been anything like, we'd have been drubbed. Ruddy kept us in it. I think he was at fault with the first goal, but I mean, he was tremendous. It could have been embarrassing, and this was against a team that were below us in the table. Never forget that. All this business about we should beat this team and we should beat that team. We can't beat anybody. We can't beat anybody at the moment, and it's just not good enough.
Do you think there's a reason for that, or do you just think, well, I know that a lot of people would blame the manager, but do you go towards the players? Do you think that the players played well on Friday, or? I don't.
I watch very closely, and you don't see any signs of people not looking like they're at it. I caught Bielek once, I think, in about the 85th minute, not chasing back. He looked knackered. But apart from that, I don't think you can complain about the efforts. I'm never one for these arguments that people aren't trying. You can't go out on a football pitch, certainly as a professional, as an amateur, and not try. You can give in, but not try. No, it just doesn't work. We were short on numbers. The blokes that came in did as well as you could expect them to, and it's the ones that were the regulars that didn't come up with the goods. I mean, Stansfield got away 2 or 3 times and didn't get a shot on goal or didn't get a crossing, or same with Juki. Juki won every ball in the air, and everybody standing looking at him. Just not knowing. They look lost to me. They look absolutely. Where am I supposed to go now? Get the ball, and I do something, and I look up. Is there anybody to cross to? No. So I turn back and go back, and everybody starts moaning then. Oh, they're going backwards. Well, you don't want to give the ball away. And it they have the appearance of having no idea where they're going. What do I do now?
I think that's been for the last few games, hasn't it? Really, I think we just look like we don't know what we're doing with the amount of changes I think we've had over the last few weeks. Anyway, we've changed style so many times that we haven't stuck to it. It would be lovely if we could play again like how we played against Ipswich all the time. I think we do look a bit lost. What do you reckon, Robe?
Well, going back sort of quickly about the game, I mean, the first 15 minutes, like the Rotherham game, we looked quite bright. Not outstanding, but we looked like we were holding our own. I thought Mark Roberts had a decent game. I must admit, I was impressed by Roberts. But then I'm sick of teams being average to beat us, if that makes sense. I'm sick of us being so bad that teams only have to be average to beat us easily. We may have had a penalty with Dembele second half, touch and go. You've seen them given. The second goal, I thought we should have done better because he ran across. O'Hare ran horizontally across our middle of our defence. Not one person put in a challenge. Yeah. They just backed off and backed off. It was a good finish, but there's just nothing about the team. There's nothing. There's no bond with the manager. There seems nothing there at all. There's no passion, no fight. Yeah. It's just Friday was indefensible. You cannot defend that because that was awful.
Paul hip kiss. Look who's turned up.
Yeah. Good evening, all.
Not Paul.
I think I agree with you guys. To be honest, I think as soon as Bakuna went and had that yellow card, that changed the whole game. I think. Yeah. I think that they aimed down that side, but the amount of cards that they should have had, considering that Bakuna's was a foul, and then it was a shame really because when I was on the coach, I was watching. Rowett talk and Deeney talk. And when they highlighted Bilic and how he was jogging back and things like that, I think I totally agree. It's made you think, are they playing for him? I don't think that they are. I've never really been in an away end apart from the Zola and Cottrell where there was it was so toxic. Even between our own fans.
Absolutely, at the end.
Aimed at Rooney. I think on Friday night he had lost a lot of us. I mean, I never wanted him anyway. But I do think he's lost the fans. And even I've had, people who support them down the road have gone, he doesn't get you guys. He doesn't understand. We've got injuries. But I just think against Coventry, we should be beating teams like that. They were amazing, but we just couldn't keep the ball again. So what do you reckon, Paul? Did you watch it?
I did, yeah. It was just, I thought first 15, 20 minutes we were doing all right. Couple of attacks where we didn't really make we didn't make their keeper work, did we, I'll say. But as soon as they scored, really, I mean, I don't know what Bilic's doing for the goal. I mean, I know Dembele loses the ball, but he doesn't really want it there, does he? Bilic gives it to Dembele there, where he's got three players round him, and he loses it. And then he's just, like Troy points out on Sky, he's just jogging back like he's got a pair of Timberlands on instead of a pair of football boots, and it doesn't really make any sense to me when you're playing in a local derby against Coventry. Like the lack of effort there from Bilic, and I'm seeing such a difference in players that were so good for us before under the previous manager, the likes of Bilic and Sanderson when he was playing, Ruddy. They're just the shadow of their former selves, aren't they?
Yeah. So go on then, Mark.
Sorry, I was just going to say they're just drained. They're just drained of confidence. Like Alan said, they're bewildered, they're lost, they're drained. And I think we are as fans now. I think we're just numb to it now. It's just, it doesn't show any sign of improving. No. And well, there's only one inevitable outcome for me. I can't see him turn it around. I think he's lost everyone, dressing room and fans.
But there's such a lack of urgency there, isn't there? I mean, even the second goal, there's about 5 of them around the player that scores the goal again, O'Hare, and there's not one of them who just dives in on him to stop him.
That's what I said, Paul. Just watch it. He runs across the face of the middle of our defence.
And he's been working on that and training. That's the worst point.
Can I just say, though, I'm agreeing with all of you here, but, I hate to keep going back to Eustace because, at the end of the day, he's not our manager anymore, but what we did have with him, and I'm the first to say our results wasn't always the best. I get it. Fans are saying, well, Eustace's results were the same. I understand that, but what we had is we had players that wanted to play for the fans and wanted to play for the manager and have passion and desire and heart. We don't have any of that now. He stands there clueless, passionless. He's got nothing about him whatsoever. He goes out on the interviews after and he just slags the players off every single week. Why, as a player, would you want to play for that? You know, it's just, it's difficult. He's not a leader. I've said on this show every week that we've got to give him until January. Honestly, after the Coventry game, I sit back and I go, it's only getting worse. Like right now, as I speak, you change the manager quickly. You get somebody else in for January. No, we can't buy many players because of the transfer embargoes and things. So bring somebody else in. Go back to your simple strength of the team. Because 4 months ago, we sat here and we said how good our squad was and how excited we was that we had this squad in front of us. It's the same players. There's no change, you know. And going into the game again, you know, with the goals we concede, like we've got two experienced defenders sitting on that bench that are meant to be our coaches, and I've not seen them get up and say a word at one time in the 4 months that they've been here. But surely it's clear to them now that every time we push our two fullbacks high, we get caught out on the transition 5 or 6 players against our two centre-backs. It happens every single week in every single game that they just beat us to the ball. They transition quickly. And then, you know, it does look like Bellic is jogging back. But the fact is, Bellic's not that type of player that should be doing that third centre-back's job. You know, be smart enough. You look at Buchanan, and Buchanan was a special player for us under Eustace. Now he's bang average because he's doing stuff that he doesn't want to do, and he's doing stuff that he's taking the weaknesses out of his position, and then we're going and blaming him. You know, I read on Facebook today, everyone's saying, you know, bring in, you know, Fogarty and bring in Dixon and bring in all these young kids. The biggest thing I worry about right now, and I coach youth players all the time, is the leader we have is not good enough. And if those players come in, we're throwing them into the deep end, fans are going to start slagging them off that they're not ready and they're this and they're that and they don't care. And we're making it so hard for these players because it's so clear to everybody but the owners right now that Rooney's not the person. And, you know, I'm the first to say that these owners have saved us, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But they've made a massive mistake on this one. And I think until we change that, you know, I don't think we're too good to go down. I think we're the worst team in the league right now. I agree with Alan when he said that. And if we continue to do
well, the stats show, doesn't it? Like, the stats don't lie. We're bottom of the table for the last since Rooney's come. So, you know,
it's going to point the game. That's going to point the game. That's relegation form in anybody's book.
Well, 5 points out of 27. What did Eustace get in that period of time? Like, how many more games can he go?
He got 17 from, what are we on now, 20. So 17 from 12.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I enjoyed watching. I watched the games on TV, as you know. I enjoyed watching the games under Eustace.
Absolutely.
Now, the no fear football now. I actually fear watching them. It's crazy. Like, I don't want to get up at, you know, I'm behind you in time. I don't want to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning or 9 a.m. in the morning to stick the TV on to watch this. It's like, it's horrible.
Mark, do you think that this has had an impact on the players, this no fear line that they've come out with? Obviously, do you think that's affected the performances on the pitch in any way? Because, you know, it's more like fear football than no fear football so far, and it was a bit of a daft thing to say, really, if I'm honest. You know, because what's fear football? You know what I mean? It's it doesn't really.
What he did, what Rooney did from the start, in my point of view, is that he questioned the ability of the players under the old management. So I think he put pressure on them straight away that you know, this what you played before wasn't good enough. Now we're going to play like this. Now I need you guys to do this. And he's openly said, if you don't do what I say, you're going to be dropped. Now, he also then goes on every week and says, well, Sanderson did this and so did this and so did this, but they're still there the week after. So he's not following through on that type of thing. But for me, he just doesn't have every single player in that team right now. I don't believe wants to play for him, don't have confidence or love or belief in the leader that they have. and that's a massive thing. In any and you know I've listened to fans all week say you've got to put the blame on the players. I actually disagree with that a little bit because as I said earlier, 4 months ago every fan was so excited about the group of players that we have. It's so clear to me that they just don't want to play for the person that's in charge.
I think that's to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, the open house was what, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
3, yeah.
If it was tonight, there'd be a lot more questions, wouldn't there, than what there was 3 weeks ago? And
I think that's the problem. I think people have misunderstood this open house. I think the problem is that we went to the open house and the Rooney part, we were not allowed to ask any questions, not take any photos, and not have any videos. And the fact is that people are like, oh, all these people who went to the open house, what do you think now? We learnt about the owners at that open house. We didn't learn about Rooney. We didn't learn about, we learnt about his idea and his tactically what he wants to do. But it was mainly about, look, this is what the owners want. This is their vision. This is how we're going to come across. So I feel like at the moment on a lot of social media, the people that went to the open house are also getting blamed, even though we heard nothing about anything that's been going on the football side. It was mainly behind the scenes. So do you know what I mean? Like, I think I totally agree with you, Paul. I think if it was tonight, I think people would have stood up and just said something. But obviously a new manager comes in, you're trying to see what happens, you know, after so many games.
How many games did we had under Rooney when we had the open house? About 3 or 4, was it? We just beat Sheffield Wednesday.
No, it's only, we've had 9 now. Six we'd had when he had that. 6. And we'd won one of those 6.
Yeah.
Was it 6? I thought it was less than that, to be honest, Al. But it's ultimately going to become untenable if he keeps losing.
We played Blackburn.
Yeah. Yeah, we played Blackburn that week. And then we played...
Rotherham. Was it
Rotherham. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we had
and Coventry. That's it, 3 games out of 9.
Yeah. But
you know what,
ultimately, it's going to become untenable, isn't it? If we keep losing, then... You know what I mean? It's just going to be more pressure and more pressure and more pressure. And eventually, you know, he probably should hold his hands up and say, I'm not cut out for this, you know?
To be honest,
would you? If you're on £30,000 a week and you've signed a 3.5-year contract, it's going to cost us about $4 million to get rid of him.
Yeah, which
so
you don't need.
away?
He doesn't need the money, does he? He doesn't need the money. He's a multimillionaire.
Yeah, I get that. But would he want to resign and then he's resigned from a job?
Probably not. He probably wants to stick around till January and get some of his own players in and then, you know, say judge him. But you know, what he's doing with the players we've got at the moment is nothing short of a disaster. Go on, Al.
I think one of the mistakes that they've made, whether it was the right thing to appoint a new manager or not, the gap between him coming and when whoever it was going to be able to make changes, i.e. the gap was too big because we were expecting to carry on as we were and get, you know, be averaging 1.5 a game. If we averaged half a point a game, which is about what we're doing now, by the time January the 1st comes down, who's going to sign for us? You know, we'll be in the bottom 3 and, you know, on a form rate of, it was indescribably bad. So who's going to say, oh, I'll throw my lot in with this lad? He's you know, he knows what he's doing. This club knows where it's going, because it won't. And that's the thing that gets to me, is that if we'd have waited till, I don't know, till this international break that's just gone, if we'd have waited till then it has more credence then, because, well, we're only a month away from January, less than a month away from January the 1st. When he came, we were 2 months away, and we've lost virtually every game since. Yeah. Which means that the situation is getting worse and worse and worse. And by the time we get to the change, then we're going to sign some new players. We'll be in so much of a mess that we can't do that. we won't be able to sign it. I mean, somebody will always come if you pay them enough. But the genuine people that you think, oh, you know, the people like Stansfield, the people like
Dembele,
you know, keen as mustard. Yes, we're an eight. Would Dembele have come in January? I don't think so. Certainly Stansfield would have been. I mean, he had the choice, didn't he? He had choices to where he wanted to go, and he chose us. He wouldn't choose us in January.
No.
I mean, I dread. Sorry, Paul. I dread going into 2024 in the bottom three, which I'd never have thought back in August. But now it's a very real possibility. We could be starting the new year in the bottom three, which is horrendous.
Massive games, absolutely massive games coming up, and 3 of them were on Sky, so they're going.
Yeah.
You know, we never do very well when we're on the Sky. What do you reckon, Craig?
I mean, watching them on Friday, the thing I would say is I agree with that first 15, 20 minutes. We looked okay. Yellow card definitely made a difference, and again, this is not down to the result, but the standard of officiating and the just whole kind of, you know, just being straightforward, being honest, and actually being consistent was non-existent from that referee. Because I agree, Claire, there probably should have been 4, if not 5, yellow cards for Cov as well, which didn't come to fruition and would have made a difference. Bielik, right, I cannot at all disagree with the comments of Troy Deeney. Right, Troy upset and alienated a few people at the club, but I tell you what, he showed more passion in his interview at the end of the game than, to me, any player that was on that field Friday night, and that's scary. And this is coming from a guy who is a Blues fan and has said himself he doesn't like knocking Bielik, he's a mate, but actually he didn't track back, and he didn't, and it wasn't once or twice. There were 3 or 4 occasions when he's not the fastest player in the world, but he could have put his foot in, right? Take a yellow card for the team. It's if you can't get to the ball, you do something, you take one for the team. It's, you know, everybody, I'm not encouraging anybody incidentally to go out and break somebody's legs or anything else. But if you can just try and you end up with a yellow card, then you've tried. And I didn't see that. And I am as frustrated as everybody else, because for me, I still cannot understand how a team can turn out like they did against Ipswich. And we haven't seen that again since. And we have been against worse teams. So, again, I referred to it last week. We have to play teams above us to get us into a mood where we're going to go out and play football. Because that's just wrong. They're professional footballers. They should turn out week in, week out, no matter who we're playing. You know, it's like turning around and saying we're going to go into the FA Cup and play one of the minnows. Right? Or we're just not going to turn up because we're in that situation, because that's the way it feels. He's lost. I don't believe he's lost every single player. I believe there are players that are trying for him. But I am now beginning to question other people. And I know it's social media, but I found myself questioning Sanderson. Was he really injured? Was that really him on that day buying those trainers in a shop? If it was, right? It's inexcusable. Yeah. Because you've got an injured foot, but you're trying on 4 pairs of trainers.
I heard he got injured getting out of bed.
Yeah. There's so many different things that are going around. And
so maybe the trainers were too tight. That's why his foot's swollen.
Too tight.
Maybe he was trying a size 8 on and he's a size 10.
But on the message board, there's a lot of people saying, do you actually believe the injuries or have there been fallouts? I think it's, well, I'd say it's common knowledge, but I think there's no smoke without fire when you hear some of the rumours. The long one, for example, kind of does ring true. Yeah. You know, and just to cover off a few of the pointers that have been raised, there is a question. The open house sounded pointless in terms of discussion with the fans, just one-way spin events. Are the supporters' comments and questions not worth anything to Rooney, Cook and the owners? I'll just clarify now. That wasn't a spin event. That was an open and honest discussion throughout, with an element of people saying we've got to do this moving forwards. But we all found out so much more information, and yes, Rooney gave us the opportunity to speak. And I'm sure questions would have been asked. but it was all done in the right way.
Yeah, we seem to be a different team when Laird plays as well. Don't we? I'll say that, and we do miss him. But I'm not saying we'd have got anything, at Coventry with him. I don't know, who knows? But I mean, I asked 3 weeks ago after the open house event, the rating out of 10 from our viewers and obviously everybody here on the field and off the field. So where are we at with that now? Because I think a few weeks ago we were all mainly a 6 on the field and about an 8.5 or a 9 or a 10 on off the field. Where are we at now with that?
I'm a 7 off. I've gone down. It's made me really question Cook. And obviously bringing Rooney in, there's plenty of other people out there. And if you'd asked me on Friday, I probably wouldn't have even given it as high as a 1 or 2. I just think it was the lack of passion. I said it on WM the other day. I said with Eustace, he always said we need to be competitive. That was his number one thing. Competitive. At the moment, we're nowhere near that. We're not putting challenges in. I kept stopping it and watching the highlights because I was showing people, they were like, how did you lose that game? I was like, right, watch this. Paused it. The gaps in the middle, it were ridiculous. When you watch like the Premier League and they've got a solid back four and then everyone's like, well, your fullbacks wouldn't be there. And we just look so lost and out of place. We look like we've never played with each other. And when you've got one of, England's best left backs sat there with, his hood up, snood on, just sat there like this, John O'Shea, what's the point in them? If you're not going to get up and you're not going to tell them what they're doing wrong, what do they do? Because they're not getting involved. Rooney stands there with his hands in his pockets. He was, when you watched him play for Everton, when you watched him play for Man United, he's also been captain at some of the clubs as well and things like that. Where's that passion gone? Like, you can't, if you've played football, surely you should know that, like, everybody's different, but these players literally need an arm around them. These players need you to be like, right, do you know what? We didn't work this week. We got to keep going with it because I promise you it'll work. Ipswich should have been that time. Look, everything we've done, look how well we played. It hasn't been. And literally, Friday was my breaking point where I went, do you know what? This is just ridiculous. You got Coventry fans singing Rooney. We never sang Rooney. We never sang his name. And that really frustrated me when there was pictures all online with the Blues fans with Rooney. We didn't sing Rooney. The Coventry fans sang There's Only One John Eustace. And a lot of the Blues fans sang in with them. And he's getting sacked in the morning. And loads of people went, please, let's sack him.
We joined in.
We joined in.
That was you, was it, Mark?
That's not Blues. We normally back people to the point. We would run, I travel the country watching them. All we expect is some commitment and fight and competitive and putting, your ass on the line. Just be Birmingham. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not playing for the badge on the shirt, and it means the world to us. But I don't know if it means the world to them at the moment. You know what I mean? The way they come out.
But it did. 2 months ago.
How's it changed?
It's like a breakup from a partner, isn't it? They obviously don't like the new person that they're with, so they're going, you need to leave. It's just ridiculous. Sorry, Alan.
I think the word that you're looking for is edge. When on before we had this edge, yes, as I said before, I don't go along too much with this. They're not trying because I don't think professional players go out on the field and not try. But there's what is missing is the edge. Where people would go that extra mile or extra few inches. Sometimes that's all we're asking them, and get stuck in and make a tackle. And as Mark says, take a booking or whatever, and knock one of the opposition players flying. And we're here. That is what's missing. That edge that makes you, I don't want to play against this bloke. I feel that the opposition love playing against us now because they're not going to get roughed up. They're not going to get run off the pitch. They'll get they'll get an average amount of opposition, and as long as they put in as much or a little bit more, they'll win the game. If we don't score, if we don't score, we can't win. We can't, and we can't even draw now. No. We must score. I mean, I've been on about this for 5 years now. We're a 1 goal a game team. Now, if we score 3 goals, it means we don't score for a month. It's simple as that. It's mathematics. And now we're not even a 1 goal a game team. Now you look at how many goals we scored? 20, and we scored. Oh yes, we still just about the 1 goal a game. But unfortunately, the gaps between the goals are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There's 2 games gone with no goals for. Can we see us scoring at Cardiff? Well, if we do, it'll be the first time for a long time. Against Leicester, how many we're going to score against them?
That's scary.
That's got a 4-0.
Sorry, Mark. Does anyone watch the Access Blues? After they've been at obviously on a match day, they bring that video back on YouTube, and I think I've only seen 1 or 2 since Rooney took over. But one thing I did notice was there was tunes pumping out of the dressing room when John Eustace was there. Yeah, and I don't know if there is since Wayne Rooney's come in. I don't think there is, but correct me if I'm wrong, because I think something like that as a player, when you're walking into the dressing room and you've got tunes pumping, it gives you a lift and it gets you going. Yeah. But I don't know whether or not we're still doing that. But I did notice on Access Blues, especially when you watch it, that Eustace had like this massive speaker in the dressing room, and there was tunes going left, right, and centre. And I'm not saying we would have won the games if we'd have done that, but I'm just saying it gives the players a lift in the dressing room, doesn't it, before you go out there when you've got like some high tempo music going.
What I suggest you do, Paul, is watch some of those videos from the Eustace days when they walking into the ground. They walked in like, we are the business. We're coming in. Okay, we only won one away game all season, but they walked in as if they were somebody. We are Birmingham City, and we're coming to. You watch him now, and I watched funny enough, just before I came on, I watched the one from Coventry, and the hoods are out. Even the what's this in their ears have disappeared. They're all walking like they're going to a funeral.
Yeah. They're in Coventry, aren't they? To be fair,
but I mean, the only thing I saw of significance was the young lad, what's his name, who came on late. He walked onto the pitch. Donovan, yeah. He walked on the pitch and he crossed himself and prayed. And I thought, well, that's significant. I've not seen that for a long time. That's the, they're pleading for help from above.
I think he was the main move. Yeah, he was. To be fair, I thought Donovan played well.
He did all right.
Good little cameo.
His little cameo, actually, I was like, fair play. At least you come on and look like you are actually interested. I generally thought Dembele was. I thought he played well. I thought, actually, I'm going to say this, which is, I never thought I'd actually ever say this on this show, but I actually thought Mark Roberts was probably man of the match. And if anybody showed a little bit of that edge and wanted it and actually put in a tackle, I never thought I'd ever say Mark Roberts would do that. But do you know what? Fair play to him. Okay. Because as soon as I saw him on the score sheet, I was like, oh, no, here we go. But I just think that, it just shows, though, the lack of squad depth we've got.
I think
the amount of injuries is just ridiculous at the moment.
I think as well, Claire, I think people like Roberts, they know they're not going to get many chances, and if they could be playing for the future, because they could well be off, they could be interested in January. So he's got to grab it with both hands, hasn't he?
If I can quickly go around then. So, Claire, you're a what on the field, and off the field. So you was a 2 on the field, was you?
Yeah, so it went from 8.5 to 7.
Yeah.
Off the field, and it went from, I think it was a 6 to now a 2.
Okay, Craig?
I was a 9.5 off the field. I stick with it, still being around an 8, but I was 7 on the field, and now 2. Can't change it.
Wow, that's dramatic change in 3 weeks, isn't it? Mark Adams?
I was 9 off the pitch, and I'm going to sort of stick by I'd probably say 8.5 off the pitch, but on the pitch I was 5. I've gone down to probably 1.5. It's awful.
Yeah, Mark Meredith.
Yeah, I've gone down from like a 6 to a 2, I think, on the pitch, and then I'd stick around 7 and 8 off it. Still, the excitement. My biggest fear is though, and I will say it, if we don't get rid of Rooney at some point in the near future, then we're probably favourites for relegation, and I think that takes 2 years off the plan. I think it for the club and the city. I think it takes up 2 years off the big plan, and that hurts us even more. So yeah, I'm staying at a 7 or 8, but I do fear that dropping as well. The way the more weeks we go on.
Yeah, Alan.
I'll go 3 on the field, 6 off, and why I only go for the 6 off is the talk of what do they call them, money streams, etc., etc. Well, if your gates are dropping, like, we've had 20-odd thousand a couple of times, and now we're back down. Parts of the ground are closed again. Yeah, that's the biggest stream that you can have is your fans. If they stop coming, then the sponsors will stop coming. Everything else will stop coming. You've got to keep the fans happy. Now, the opening night tried to do that. Fine, but now we got a Formula One car with one tire out. Get it pumped up, or else you ain't going anywhere.
No petrol either, Al.
No petrol either.
No, exactly. Yeah.
No driver.
No wheels.
What are you, mate?
So I'm probably still off the field. Probably 8 on the field. Probably 2.
Yeah, okay.
And what I was I was just going to say though, can anybody in our lifetime remember anything, any worse toxicity against a manager in charge than now?
Oh yeah, Cottrell had a
Cottrell.
But worse than this, do you think?
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I honestly don't think it was worse.
No, I don't think so.
I think the Cottrell side of it, everybody wanted Cottrell with Redknapp, and that never obviously came off because they had some sort of clash. When he came in, everybody was optimistic. Yeah. Zola, when he came in, people were
unhappy. Craig. I was going mad when we employed Cottrell. I was really not happy at all.
I think the difference this time, though, for me, is that nobody wanted Rooney. And I don't think it would have mattered whether we'd have come in, and got Rooney and we'd have gone on an absolute flyer. I still think there would be an element of fan base at the moment that would be saying exactly the same thing. We never want him. We don't want him. And that's the issue. That's, Claire covered it off. Mark mentioned it. In Cov, we have fans fighting with each other, right? Now, that, to me, is true frustration because everybody wants an opinion, and the fact is, my opinion will be different to Mark's opinion, will be different to Claire's, different to Watto's, but we can't express it because at the moment, if you say, oh, well, you've got to give him time, then all of a sudden you're a Rooney lover, and, it doesn't matter. I think I saw a comment that somebody posted the other day on a message board, which was, and Watto, I did see you come back on it. If you like Rooney or have a positive to say about it, you're not a fan. No, it's just an opinion. And I know my connection cut off, but the one thing I wanted to just add was backroom staff. Paul, you mentioned it, right? The backroom staff for me have done absolutely nothing. Ashley Cole, I don't know what he does on the training ground. But when he comes out onto a pitch, right, I want to see some passion from him. I want to see him getting up, along with O'Shane, along with Rooney, giving those players the rockets that they need when they need it, but also supporting them when they're having the bad times. Because at the moment, every time the camera's on Ashley Cole, he's sitting there with a cover over his face, and he's almost sitting there as smug as anything, not doing it.
Film, doesn't he, Craig? He looks like he's watching a film more so than.
He just doesn't. It doesn't show me any passion for this club whatsoever, right? If Get rid of him. Get rid of him now. Get rid of him. Get rid of O'Shea, right? They want people to show passion. We had the guy on the show the other week. Get Robbo in. He'll put the rocket up people's backsides. He knows what this club means. That is what we are lacking at the moment. This management staff do not, and management, when I say this is people on the pitch, right? Not the people in the back rooms and everything else. People on the pitch do not know what Birmingham means to the fans. Because if they did, it's plain and simple. Go back to basics, make yourself hard to beat. You do that, you don't concede, you don't lose a game. But at the moment, the stubbornness that's coming across from all of them is costing us. And it will cost us our position in the league.
Can I just say, Craig, sorry, Paul.
Go on, Mark. Go just ask go on, Mark. I'll shut up. You carry on, mate. Go on.
No, sorry, man. I was just saying, like, I agree with Craig, but he mentioned O'Shea and he mentioned Cole. Now, Rooney doesn't show any passion either. Rooney's
doesn't, no.
Three, right?
He shows nothing.
And I don't think Robbo would want to work with that at that type of lead. At the end of the day, Cole and O'Shea are not doing anything, but their leader as well is Rooney. I wouldn't even want to put Robbo in that situation of having to work underneath this guy anyway. Get rid of the three of them and then build it back with somebody that has some passion about it. You watch games every single week. Just movement on the side of the field, man. Move up and down the field, kick every ball with the players, do something so it shows the fans that you actually want to be there. Because if you want to keep your hands in your pockets, you're not like, go and sit in the stands. Just don't be out there.
He does sit in the stands. He sits there half the time. I think I counted it about 30 times in the first half. He was sat down.
Yeah.
He doesn't even wear Birmingham City stuff. It pisses me off. I'm sorry, but he doesn't wear the hat. He doesn't wear the coat, and it's so annoying that he can't even put the badge on when he's the leader of the football club.
I noticed that tonight on that Access Blues thing. He walks in and he's got just black everything, and it's all folded around his face, so you can't see expressions or anything. He hides. He sneaks his way into the ground and sneaks his way out to the touchline, and then hides for the next 90 minutes.
Exactly.
So is it? So we're saying it's just? Do we honestly think it's just an easy paycheck for him?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's what it appears to be. Just an easy paycheck for him.
He's got nothing on us. Let's cast our minds back, right? Let's cast our minds back to that last-minute winner against Plymouth when Stansfield scored on his debut. Do you remember the video of John Eustace when he scored?
John Eustace, celebrations, passion.
What would Rooney be doing now if that happened? So that happened on Monday night against Leicester. What would Rooney be doing?
Probably my shoelaces.
Probably slagging off when I was shooting earlier.
Ashley Cole would probably be on his phone.
Yeah, asking what. He'd probably be asking what the score is.
No, I think Rooney on Monday will be animated because of Wagatha Christie. Now we all know that that's the only reason why it's on Sky. We know that Jamie Vardy will probably score a hat-trick and celebrate right in front of him. Now, to me, if he doesn't win the next two games, he's got to go. There's no ifs and buts about it because we are slowly going down. And I think that Wagner needs to actually be understanding about what's going on. Cook needs to come out and just say, sorry, I made a mistake. I tried to get my mate in. It didn't work. Yeah. But I wouldn't have Eustace back. I wouldn't have Rowett back. You need some fresh eyes on this. You need someone to the end of the season. We've got no money in January. So everybody's saying we're going to spend loads of money. It's not going to be like that. Hogan's apparently going to go to Sheffield Wednesday. You watch him. If he leaves, he'll bang the goals in and keep them up. Yeah. Because that's what will happen. Yeah. You've got Oliver Burke. Just needs to just keep being on TikTok and go. I wouldn't keep him either.
I'd rather still have Deeney than him.
Yeah. And I'd rather just have, like, everybody's expecting this massive January. They even said it will be the summer. So it's actually worrying. And they've come out and gone, oh, well, all the players that are here really, really good. You've already come out and slagged them off. You've already come out and keep saying how bad they are. You keep saying how bad they are. You keep saying that they're not playing very well and all this. So, of course, they don't want to stay. I think there's going to be a few shocks. I really do. And I think there'll be some big names and the fans won't like it.
you've just made a very, very, very good case for making Troy Deeney our next manager.
Hmm?
Because I can't think of anybody else who would have the passion and the experience, etc., than him. Because if there is no other, I mean, John Eustace is a Birmingham guy, and Troy Deeney.
What about Robbo? What about Robbo?
Robbo.
I'll bring him and all. Yeah, I'm just saying.
You need someone in who's got some sort of passion and love for this football club.
Lee Carsley. What, Lee Carsley?
Yeah, Lee Carsley or
I'd like to see
Lee Carsley. But
what about Jerry Gill?
I'm all for giving people a chance, right? But because it even took Pep Guardiola a season to win anything at Man City. But when you're seeing this much of a decline, in the players in a short space of time, it just doesn't send out good vibes at all at the same time. I mean, I don't know whether or not, how many points in these fixtures, in these 9 games that Rooney's had so far, how many points better off do you think we would be if we still had John Eustace in these fixtures? Because they haven't been easy, but I'm not sticking up for him because it has been shocking. And like we said, like the work rate and the effort there is just not the same as what it was previously.
I don't think we would be like this. I know Norwich was bad. I know that some of the games were bad. But at least we tried. At least we were in the Preston. We should have won that game, hands down. We were the better team by far. You play Miyoshi in the position he needed to play because he was just behind the 2 strikers. Why he thinks he's a winger, I've got no idea. Norwich. Okay, I came back. We lost, but at least we had a go. At least we look solid. Yeah, okay, we can't win every game. We're Birmingham City. We're not going to win every game. That's just not us. We're not Man City and Liverpool and all them. But at least, again, we were competitive. At least we had a go. And at least we had players that wanted to play. At least they came over to us. Mark Roberts was the nearest person. Bakuna threw his shirt in the crowd. All the others clapped and walked.
Yeah. I mean, I would love Graham Potter in. I would. He'd be my choice if really did.
Can I just say, Paul, on that? Sorry, guys.
Go on. I would be annoyed if you went to Stoke. I really would.
Firstly, I wouldn't agree with Troy Deeney. I think Troy, you got to have passion, but you've also got to have experience. You got to have understanding. I don't think he's not experienced as a manager. I don't know exactly what he's going to be like as a coach. He's never done it, so I think that's
he's doing it at the moment. He's player coach at Forest Green.
But that's what I'm saying. He's playing so-called baby football right now. It's not the experience of the Championship is totally different. I think passion. I think it's great. Now, for me, and people will probably say I'm crazy, but when you looked at it and you wanted the big name, a bit to bring the publicity into the club, as well as somebody that was a little bit more experienced, then I think Lampard was your person at that time.
Yeah,
He brought the name in. He's experienced. He did a good job at Chelsea in his first stint. He did a great job at Derby with no money. And he had the name and the thing about him that would have still brought in the publicity from everywhere.
Made a
massive mistake with Rooney because you brought somebody in that wasn't successful in the first place.
Yeah, we're getting on the track, Chris. We've got many fans' questions coming in, viewers' questions.
They've got absolutely
comments?
Hundreds. I've got one here for Craig. He might not be happy about it, but here we go.
I think I've probably read it.
You've probably read that one. Hang on, I'll just get it lined up. Okay. So, Craig, this is from Andy Bonar. I hope that's how you say it. Craig, you've always said Rooney's going nowhere. Do you still think this is the case?
My head, unfortunately, still says yes, because I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I just can't see our guys sacking him. I think he would have to walk. My heart, I want him to go tomorrow. And I don't very often turn against managers this quickly. I'd love to give him a chance, but at the moment, it's not showing us anything. No. I just want, if there was one thing, and we know people from the club listen to this, right? One thing, show us some damn passion. Show us you care, because at the moment we don't see it. We just hear excuses. And after the games, Claire's mentioned it already, we hear you slagging the players, right? When they're on a downer, you slag a player, they come back, makes it even worse. We need somebody to put their arms around those players and just say, you can do it. Give it a go. And then if they genuinely can't, and there is plans for movement, go ahead, do the movement, but just show us something. And Andy, yeah, I agree. You know, I didn't think he was going anywhere, and my head still says he's not, because I don't believe we'll sack him. But I wish he would do something for us as fans. Just show it. And you know, Monday night. This isn't, for me, Monday night is not about the football. Sky have got it for one reason and one reason only.
Wagatha Christie.
Wagatha Christie, right? Yeah. It makes us look stupid. As a club at the moment, and I was told at the club that they can only turn down one game a season from Sky. And if you turn it down, all the rest of them, you have to stick by, right? What I think we actually need is a breakaway from this, because there's more pressure on them players when they're in front of the cameras than any other time. Right? We need a breakaway. We're on TV, albeit a red button.
3 times before New Year.
Cardiff, TV. Leicester, TV. Stoke, TV. It's not good. In the current situation, we should be saying no. No additional revenue. Right, Watto, you're right. We can't even sell out our own stadium because we closed part of the stand. I know that's for refurb, but we've still closed it. Right, it shouldn't be happening. Those bottom tiers are open. We should be filling them.
They look ever so smart, but they need some behinds on them.
Yeah, need backsides on them, because the backsides bring the money. The money brings the revenue. The revenue means we can spend.
I think the idea of getting Rooney in was revenue. I don't think any other reason.
He's brought revenue. I do firmly believe he's brought revenue.
He has.
That's it.
Well, he's brought massive Sky coverage. We do get paid for that, don't we? I mean, that's the case. But it's getting a bit boring now, especially when you stick a match on Friday night.
When you're losing every week, and when do you know what I mean? When you're losing every week, you're on there. We are a joke to the rest of the footballing world. We're not getting good publicity. It's really bad publicity, and it's the fact that we got Rooney for social media likes and revenue. Perfect. You know what? Done that. But football is different to any other sport. Football is about results. Football is about what happens on the pitch. It's not about, you know, obviously, we need revenue because that's what they told us so many times. But actually, without the fans, football is nothing. So without the fans, you won't have a football club. So at the moment, the toxicity between the fans is so bad. We're fighting amongst ourselves. We're arguing over social media, everything. Like, you know, if you don't say you don't like Rooney, then that's it. You don't say it like it is. You know what I mean? Like,
you need to go to Villa Park. You don't, you know.
Well, we don't want to talk about them because that's making it a million times worse what they're doing up the road.
It's like the late 80s again. It's like full circle.
There's groups of fans arguing, and you do
find it very curious that this split. I mean, I don't even see it as a split now. There's only a few people who are giving Rooney any credence whatsoever. But there is I mean, I said before I didn't want him, but it doesn't mean I'm not a supporter anymore. You know, it actually makes me more of a supporter because I still want to watch what's happening at Birmingham City, whoever's manager. Just because I don't like the person, I just think he's useless. Is his job doesn't mean I'm not a Birmingham City supporter. You know, and anybody with the opposite point of view doesn't make them not a Birmingham City supporter. And I respect everybody, every one of them 4,000. And why did we only get 4,000? Because half that stand was empty. I was sitting in the opposite corner, and I could have sat the other end, but I had to pay. I had to sit with the Coventry fans because the tickets were running out. But there was plenty of room in that stand.
Because everyone was standing in the middle. Alan, literally, when try and get down to get a drink or anything, you couldn't move. Like literally, people weren't in their seats. They were standing on the stairs, stairwells and everything. It was a nightmare. So it was full.
Okay, but my point's, you can disagree with me or disagree with everybody, but that doesn't make you not a supporter. You might have a strange opinion. That does not mean you're not a supporter. If you want Birmingham City to win every game, like we all do, that's the end of it. Why are we arguing with each other? 90% of us would probably now agree that Rooney should go. But the people who don't want to give him a chance, well, I think you're wrong. But I don't think you're not a supporter because you're saying that, because you wouldn't have an opinion if you wasn't a supporter. Yeah.
No, exactly.
You wouldn't care less.
Yeah, no, exactly. No,
can I ask how many people? Right, let's be honest now. We'll put this out to the viewers as well. How long before the fans start venting that anger at the manager and the management team?
Monday night,
we haven't really heard
the Leicester game.
Leicester. We haven't heard it.
Leicester. I think on that big sort of platform, a massive local, Midlands derby. I think, tempers are just going to go, especially if Leicester do the go 3 or 4 ahead, which could well happen.
Yeah, what we heard, it was not things that I can repeat live on here, but you could imagine, and it was lots of people. Like before, there was only a few, and some people would boo and things like that. And some people would just sing Rooney, Rooney to wind people up. And that's the problem. I just think that there's a point. I think let's see what we do on Wednesday. If we lose on Wednesday, Leicester is going to be. I can't see us beating Leicester either. But if we are 2-3-0 down and we are playing like we have been, I think that's the tide will turn, and I think it's going to be very toxic. And it's just going to go back to, like when we were saying, for the owners to get out and things like that. I think it's going to turn, and it's not going to be nice at all.
No, the thing I will say is I'm there to support the team. I support the team. I don't support the manager, right? I don't support the owners. I support the team, and I will back them through absolute thick and thin. So, as a fan, when it comes to it, if the toxicity is there, it's there. The one thing I won't do is I won't turn against the players, but what I want them to do in turn is just be hard to beat and show that little bit of passion and enthusiasm that was there at the start of the season. Because if the manager doesn't like what's happening, right, it's 0-0, 5 minutes to go. So if it's against Leicester and it's 0-0 and 5 minutes to go, first of all, I'm going to be in absolute dreamland. Secondly, I'm going to be turning around and saying, hold it, I don't want to go for a winner. Let's just get a damn result, right? Yeah. And let's walk away where heads can be held high. Because at the moment, I don't know anybody that's really looking at Monday and thinking we're going to get anything. No. And that's really, really bad. Go back to basics. Make yourself hard to get through. The defence needs to be a brick wall. All right? Somebody's going to have to climb that brick wall to get through it. It's at the moment, we're like Skittles and somebody's just a bowling ball and knocking us over every single time. We just need that bit of that bit of passion is just the only word I can use. That's what we need to see, and we're not seeing it. And the players also have got to be held accountable for that, right? If you don't like what the manager says, don't sit around and mope around and drop your face to the floor. Get out, grow some balls, and actually face facts. You need to clear a ball.
Oh, you're really in disguise.
Yeah, but if you need to clear a ball, clear a ball. If you've got to welly it 40, 50 yards, who cares as long as it's not in front of your own goal, mate?
They did change that, though. They didn't pass it from the back.
No, they didn't, no.
The worst thing that happened was the no fear. Even, Don Goodman said it. The worst statement in football was we want to play no fear.
Yeah.
And high press and possession and all this. We've got Jukovic, and I love him. What a servant to our football club. Won't ever, you know what I mean? Hands up. If you want to play a high press, you don't play him.
No, sure.
I'd rather play Hogan as a high press or something like that. So, then all of a sudden, so they're getting told one thing, this is how we want to play, let's keep the ball. Then we can't play that, so then we're booting it forward, then losing the ball. Then we got, right, we're going to do a high press, then we're playing Jukovic, who can't really run, and then Bilic can't run, and everything else, because Bilic needs Sunjic next to him. I think Sunjic should start against Cardiff. I think we need someone moving in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I'll bring him back.
yeah, because
he's that barrier in front of the
like
back
a
four.
savage, grabs the ball, gets the ball, keeps running. We'll run through a brick wall for you, Sunjic will. Okay, 2 months ago, we were saying how amazing he was, like it was like he had changed. He needs to put himself in the shop window. He probably won't be offered a new contract, so he will go through walls. I just think, you've got to decide how we're playing. You either stick to it or you don't. It's as simple as that, because you're being told that you can't play this way, then we're playing another way, then we're playing this way. We've got no idea what's going to happen on Wednesday. Like Cardiff are flying at the moment. We can have 26 shots on target, but if you ever watch any football, especially Premier League football, we're shooting from 25, 20 yards out.
Yeah.
And pass it. Do you know what I mean? Do that extra pass to then cross it in instead of shooting where it's just dribbling to the goalkeeper. It's so frustrating to watch.
Can I move on to our top 5 now? Third best ever goal. On that note.
No.
What was number 1 and 2?
So number one was John Gale at Wembley against Tranmere.
Yeah.
Number 2 was Cameron Jerome at Liverpool. So what is our third best ever goal?
John Terrell.
Good shape, yeah. That was on my birthday, that was, Claire.
Was it? Happy
It
birthday
was.
today.
Nobody's ever been on birthdays.
Yeah.
Sebastian Larsson, Tottenham.
Yeah.
I'm torn. I know it's going to be Seb Larsson, but I don't know whether the Spurs one or the Sheffield Wednesday one. I'm torn.
Spurs for me would be that
Probably
one.
Spurs. Probably Spurs.
Roy Keefe done bowed up Derby.
Yeah.
I think for the sheer shock factor that none of us ever thought he could hit a ball like that, and he was playing the player at the time.
And just whilst we're waiting for these to start coming through on the board as well, we've all been talking about the transfer window in January, right? And there's some comments coming through, and also now I've seen in the press releases as well, which basically highlights the fact it's going to be a very, very tough window. There's not going to be a fat lot to be done.
No. And
one of the comments out from the club is at the same time as we're looking for great players, we've also got great players at the club that are only going to get better. Commitment from that is from the coaching staff and making sure that that commitment is supported. Now, that is a comment which we all agree. We've got some very, very good and talented youngsters and some great players at the club. However, if they are absolutely seeping confidence as though it's going through a sieve, then there's only one way to keep that and build that back up, and that's by letting them do the job that they know they can do well.
That's
So,
the man.
it's got to be plain and simple. I don't care. I'm not interested in pretty football. As a Birmingham City fan, I'm not used to pretty football. I don't want pretty football. What I want is hard and tough team to beat. Somebody that's not afraid to put their foot in. Get the fans behind them. And, if we scrape a 1-0 because it's gone off somebody's backside, then I couldn't care less. Because at the end of the day, we've got a result. But at the moment, we don't have people that can do what is being asked of them. And therefore, it's dragging us down. And we'll get to the bottom, and we won't be able to get back up this time.
Here's a great comment from earlier on from Adam. He says, I got my season ticket for the project that Wagner, Knighthead and Eustace were building on at the start of the season. I feel cheated.
I had that when Monk. So when I got back in my seat, like season ticket up high to be by Craig, that was because of Monk, and then Monk got sacked 2 weeks later. So I totally know how you feel.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
The mistake of staying by Craig for the rest of your life. Come on, man.
You know what I mean?
He's jinxed it.
Tired and weary, but he's more tired and weary than ever at this present moment.
I know there were joys and sorrows, but my God, I didn't realise the sorrows would be this bad. You know what I mean?
Seb Larson at Leicester, at Spurs, by the way, is heads and tails across anything at the moment. Mooney against Oxford has been put there by Lilypad.
Norwich. I think
Yeah. What about, remember Djukovic's goal at Bristol City when Camp whacked it up? Yeah, the one when he
that was certainly his best goal ever.
But he spun and flicked it over the goalkeeper.
Yeah. He had his back to goal, didn't he? And he kind of held it up, turned the defender, and then chipped it over the keeper. It was a quality goal.
Yeah, it was a good goal.
Yeah.
Che Adams against Bristol is one that's just been texted me as a great goal. Not just individual play, but team play for that one.
Yeah.
There's one here for Claire. Michael on YouTube says, "I love you, Claire, but did you just say Dukey can't run? A pro footballer? There is the problem."
It's not. Do you know what? It's not that he can't run. I just don't think he's ever been blessed with pace. He's a target man. That's what he is. That's his main thing. Yeah. And it's the fact that, after 5 minutes, he looks like he's done 3 games in one go. He's sweating, he's panting. But that's just Djukovic. And as I said, I'll never have a bad word to say about him, what he's done for our football club. Oh, yes. He's been there through thick and thin. I've met him a couple of times. He's always been a really nice bloke. I just don't think he's not, he's someone to come on in a game to either hold it up if we're winning and keep it up the pitch, or if we're losing, right, who can we get around him? But the thing is, I did the one thing on Friday that was a positive for me. I did quite like Dembele floating in around. I think he actually did quite well in the middle. But then Stanfield, who was our main person before Rooney came in, is on the left.
Yeah,
he's got
that makes sense.
Yeah, and some of the ideas just don't make sense. Some of them you go, oh, that's a good idea. But then actually, we're not near to Djukovic. Djukovic were not a lot, and the referee was not on our side as well. But I just think that he hasn't got the pace to play this way of football.
No, that's right. It's a bit like Cottrell. It's a bit like Cottrell. I think when he had Sam Gallagher down the left and Endoy as a number 10. Remember that?
Yeah.
Can I just say on that though, Paul, and again, we're just going on to Claire's point there. I don't think she's wrong with Djukovic, but the clear statement to everything we're speaking about there is exactly what Craig said. You've got to play to the strength of the players. Like, we can sit here and say that every single player on the field right now is not doing well in what they're doing because we're not playing to the strength of them. We're not playing the strength of the goalkeeper. We slag him off. Our 2 fullbacks are too far forward. We slag them off. Our striker can't run. He's making him run, so we slag him off. The fact is that if you go back to the strength of the players that we had 4 months ago, then we're not having these conversations.
No, it's not.
No. Yeah, big comment. Alex Strange, in 63 years of watching the Blues, last Friday was one of the most depressing games.
You know what it was? It was the start of the season, the away days were immense. They were some of the best I've ever been in. The singing, Watford was absolutely class. Like, Watford was singing from start to finish. The Dion song came. Even though, we only really lost that because of the red card. Like, we weren't great, but we weren't not in it. And then all of a sudden...
It was 0-0 with the red card. With 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, and that was just some stupidity. Should never have happened. And again, we were close. The away games, you got 4,000 people, £37 Friday night on Sky. And we did make some noise, but you just felt... Well, what's the point? It's not like, we're trying to galvanise you. We're trying to give you, come on. But there's just nothing there to, grasp onto. Sometimes when something happens, you're like, right, we're going to sing. And then all of a sudden, we sang Keep Right On, the loudest we've sung for, and then all of a sudden, that bloke scores, that Villa player. Scores every time we play, and then it just went bang straight down, and all it was shouting. I just think, some people go home and away, and what do you get for it? Show at least some passion and pride Play.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play for him, play for us.
Yeah.
That's
It
what
has
he
to
needs
work
to do.
both ways. It has to work
Yeah.
both ways, doesn't it? You know, they've got to give it back to the fans to give them something to shout about,
Yeah.
haven't they?
Yeah.
We pay their salaries. That's the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
We pay their salaries. So now, give us something to earn that salary, and we know they can do it. You know, I will not slate the players, you know, on a constant basis because we know they can do it. But just show it.
You know, Craig, even like we talk about the Ipswich game a lot on here and how good we were. I even questioned that one. You know, I know it's way back now, but even like when Laird went off, which I agreed with the substitution because I think Laird was tired. It was his first game back. But for me, Longella wasn't the player to bring on. You know, it would have been someone like Ayew at the time. Ayew wasn't playing then. Ayew bringing on, going 3 centre-backs, putting Bakuna at right back as a wing-back, keeping Drenham left-back, Draymar, whatever you want to call him, Paul.
Drama.
That's him, yeah, drama, sorry. You know, but playing, you know what I'm saying? And solid the 3 defenders up and playing wing-backs. Bakuna was on the field. You could move Bakuna to right-back. And I'm not going back to that and saying it was, at the time, it was just what it is. But he threw Longella in there. And in the 10 minutes Longella was on the field, we conceded the 2 goals. So I even question then at even the game that we were very, very good at, we ended up drawing the game and probably felt like a loss because of a couple of substitutions we made late on.
Mark, you're absolutely right about that game. And the problem is that you've watched the last 250 Birmingham City games and know the team inside out. And you, like me, when he went off, I went, oh my God, our defence is going to be torn apart now because it was just thrown together. Now, the problem was that our manager and his coaching staff didn't know as much about our players as you did, or I did. And I'll tell you what that happened with Zola. Zola did when we played. His first game was against Brighton, which was also on Sky, and their manager was our old manager, and their manager knew far more about our players than our manager did. And he made a change. He put Robbo at right back, and they brought on a kid who's now, I can't remember his name, who's now a regular in their first team, and they scored from across from the left. You know, and you're thinking that shouldn't have happened, but you know. Do these people not sit down with people who have been with the club for, a length of time and have a full, this bloke's strengths are this bloke's weaknesses are that. So I haven't seen him play before, but I'm not going to open him up to his weaknesses. I'm going to open him up to his strengths. And you can't learn all that in 5 minutes. I know that. But there's no continuity. You know, the only person left from last year is Mike Taylor. And Mike Taylor, I've watched him on the bench, and when we're losing, he's looking into the sky thinking, what am I doing here? You
think he would have been too arrogant?
Same as all of us.
I was just about to say that, Claire. Do you think it's a bit of arrogance or naivety on behalf of Rooney to sort of walk in?
I don't think he's naive. I think he's arrogant, and I think he shows that in everything that he does. I think that's why he doesn't wear the Blues badge because he's too big for it. He thinks.
That's what I mean. Does he think, I'll walk into Birmingham, or I'll wave a magic wand, do a Harry Potter, and everything will be all right?
I think we should have signed Harry Potter.
So for example, Wednesday night we've got Cardiff away. Would you put Etheridge in? What would you change?
I wouldn't, Claire. I'll keep Ruddy, to be fair. I think Ruddy kept the score down on Friday.
Yeah.
That's right.
He did do something strange, though. So after their first goal, he walked to the 18-yard box and he just turned back and stared at the fans. I don't know what was being said. I can't tell you that. But I was like, that's a bit strange. He literally walked, turned and just stared for about 2 minutes. I don't know if something was said. But like we thought he was 3 months ago the best goalkeeper we've ever had, apart from Ben Foster. So I know a lot of people are asking, should we put Etheridge in goal? But what else could you do? Would you start Dixon? Would you start Donovan? Would you give Hogan a chance again? I don't know. What could we do?
Yeah. I'd start Donovan. I think Dixon needs he needs to be on the bench. He needs actually to almost be, dare I say, thrown in at the deep end to see just how good this kid is, because he is shining through in the 23s. Sometimes you have to chuck somebody in, you know, to say, I think so. Go out and show me you can do it, you know, stay afloat. And if you can stay afloat, you've succeeded. I agree. No, I don't think Ruddy should change Wednesday. But what I would do is just make sure that we've got the toughest defence with, not, dare I say, no flamboyancy. We don't need the flamboyancy. We just need some people to defend.
The issue is we don't have a right back. We again on Wednesday we won't have a right back. So do you play Bakuna there? Do you know Sanderson is maybe injured, maybe not injured, but he won't play either on Wednesday. Right. Long won't play Wednesday. What just.
I wouldn't leave Roberts out after the way he played at Coventry though. Anyway,
no.
Available.
He's my first start.
If Anderson's available, then you move Ayew to right back. That's what I would do. Ayew's a more stronger right back than Oakley and Bakuna.
Yeah,
straight away.
Yeah, we just need to go back to basics and just try and get some points, you know, somehow. Even if we start from a defensive base rather than trying to attack teams, you know,
go 4-4-2.
Yeah,
I
play one holding, one attacking, maybe Bakuna in the middle with Sunic, as you say. And then on the left, you could have Dembele, and on the right, you could put Donovan.
Yeah.
And then, or Miyoshi, and then up front, put Djukovic and Stansfield, or Hogan and Stansfield.
Yeah. Could we play two goalkeepers? I'm just asking for a friend.
Can we play with 15 people? Can we just check everyone on?
Can I ask one thing? Chris, what's in the box?
Well, I'm glad you asked me.
Well, can we just say one thing though? The only shining light in our football club is the women.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Really enjoyed the game yesterday.
Thank you. Yeah, so we won again. Was it 2-0, Alan?
2-0. 2-0.
Until very late on, 91st minute to get the first goal. I think 92nd minute to get the second.
Classic second goal.
Oh, brilliant! Absolutely superb second goal. But you know what? It's FA Cup into the fourth round, and the winning streak continues. Just such a shame that we get to this weekend, very tough league game, and then a massive break until well into the new year. But you know, hopefully, incidentally, on the show that we can get a few of the players and maybe even Daz Carter on to come and talk to us about that more and more, maybe during that break. But yeah, Chris, what's in the box?
Oh, so we have touched on it briefly about 15, 20 minutes ago. In the box,
Sanderson's trainers.
So in the box,
3 points.
Yeah,
3 points.
In the box is a very appropriate one word. That's all I'm saying.
One word.
Yeah.
Badge.
Oh, for sake.
That was good. Well done, Claire. Right, night over.
Are you septic? Are you septic?
How did you get that? Wow.
Featuring me, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't
Chris, put something back in the box. Put something else in the box. Let's put Claire in the box. Don't keep it quiet.
No, that was
Claire's writing. That was.
I now feel how Mark
pretty
and Paul
good.
feel when we do that squad game and they get it right first time.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, what's in the box? Have we got anything else, Craig?
For the next 10 minutes.
No hope is in the box.
Craig, we got squad game? Craig, squad number game, anything like that?
I don't think we're going to have time. I don't think we're going to have time, to be honest. I'll go to some of the questions on YouTube. I don't think this is any time to throw kids in. It's too toxic, and it looks like it might get worse. It could ruin them. They don't deserve that. Yeah. It's up to the senior players to sort this out.
Also, we've had years of this, and the senior players have been there through it all.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like when Jude came through, he was like a shining light and a bit of energy and a bit of passion. So, mate, do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the under-21s and that are doing amazingly. Like, they're top of the leagues and everything. Maybe we do need to. Don't expect it to be like a whole load of kids, but at least maybe.
I'm old enough to remember Trevor Francis being thrown in.
Yeah.
In desperation. We
worked.
weren't winning any games. And they threw him in, and lo and behold, look what happened. And a little bit the same with Jude. He was a bit more gradual. But eventually they say, "Oh, Suddy, we can't not pick this kid because he's better than everybody else." And sometimes you've got to, you got to try. And one of the things it may well do will stop if you've got a couple of kids coming along and doing well. It might stop this antagonistic, toxic atmosphere because everybody will get behind the new kid, won't they? It's not like, we're getting tired of the old faces, to be honest. Let's throw some new blood in and just give us something to shout about.
Yeah, exactly.
If they don't do well, okay, we leave them out again. And we go back, we start thinking about who we're going to buy to replace the ones we've got anyway. But I think certainly in the situation we are now, throwing this lad Dixon in as a striker alongside Stansfield, let's say, and play a 4-4-2, and if the kid can put the ball in the net, if he's one of these guys that has 2 touches and gets 1 goal, we'll have that. We don't necessarily need somebody who's running the backside off all the time. We want somebody who can score goals.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I know.
A big demand there. Sorry,
I'd be looking. If somebody said he was playing on Wednesday night, I'd be, this is something good. I want to watch it. At the moment, I'm going to watch it. Of course, I will. But I won't be. I'll invite my Cardiff City supporter friend round to watch the game because whenever he's done that, we've won.
Get him out, Alan, quick!
You got a friend?
Yeah, today, bring him back
every
today.
game.
We need any sort of optimism, please.
We're getting a lot of demands. Sorry, Chris. We're getting a lot of demands for the last 15. And
tough. I don't care.
Somebody's made the point.
Putting my foot down.
Somebody's made the point that since we've not done the last 15, results have got worse.
Maybe they need that. That's why they're not playing any music to think about it.
I know that we've only got 6 minutes, but I'll very quickly do a last 6. Anything to do with aquatics and football. There you go.
Aquatics and football.
Aquatics and football.
Like Mark Fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just going back to the questions, BCFC Ireland thinks we should drop our flair players.
You need something or someone.
We need a
create
bit of grit, he's
something.
saying. We need a bit of grit.
Yeah, I think Miyoshi's been totally played out of position. He's not a winger. The best games he's played is behind the striker feeding them. We miss Anderson massively, and I think, because you could play even James at right back, but then he's been one of our best players. So I think dropping I don't know. Who else are you going to bring in? Gary Gardner? I mean, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
All right.
There's some great ones coming through here. I mean, Andy Boner said, "You're talking about aquatics, but we're a sinking ship." Mark Brooks has said Stephen Froggatt.
Steve Froggatt.
Paul Heath has said Steve Guppy.
It's a one-off special.
This one's great. Codney Marsh.
Codney Marsh. This is a one-off special. This is a one-off special because I'm superstitious. We're going to win on Wednesday now after I've done that.
Yeah, Claire's had enough. She's got off now.
Tom Kavanagh has said Blues are carp at the moment, so I think that might be a misspelling.
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
I'm still here.
Oh.
Gone off.
I know.
When we talk about the youngsters as well, and giving them a crack, Donovan when he came on was a spark to the team, and that's one thing that really did stand out on Friday. I think we had our first real good go at goal when he came onto the pitch. So, he needs to be given a run and to start in the game to see what he can do. But then also, Stansfield and Djukovic could form a great partnership because you've got somebody that can win the ball in the air and somebody that will run on behind. But they've got to be played in those positions. You've got to play a 4-4-2 and stick rigidly to it for that to happen. So, why not?
It'd be like a. Sorry, Craig. It'd be like an up-to-date version of the Shea and Dukey partnership a few years ago, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think it'd go down a treat, that would.
I would drop Bilic, 100%.
And I would.
I would.
I think he needs to be dropped, and I'd bring Sunjic in, because I just think that if he has another bad game, I think fans will turn, because now the whole world's seen him jogging back for 2 or 3, the goals.
It's also been reported is our highest paid player as well, which doesn't help anybody. That sort of remark, whether it's true or not, doesn't help the player, doesn't help the club, doesn't help the team. That's neither here nor there. He could be the lowest paid club. He's still got to run, and he's still got to do his bit. What he gets paid is not relevant to that. You might think it is, but it isn't really. And it's non-help. It's just not help, because people get he's paid the most. He ought to do the most. Well, football ain't like that, is it? He should do his job, and that's the be all and end all of it. And running back and tackling and whatever is part of his job, whatever we're paying him. But I agree. I'd have Sunjic. Sunjic looked at it. I mean, he was only on for 5 minutes or so, but when he got the ball, he looked like he'd have that edge. If he'd have played from the start, he might have had that edge. He might have got booked or whatever. But he tackles and he chases and he protects the back four. I would, at the moment, certainly wouldn't have anybody else in that position but him. Again, but then you get the talk about James. Now he's a 110%. That it gives everything, etc., etc., etc. But he's, how shall I put it? He's young, he's inexperienced. He's either wonderful or he makes a mistake. Is that what we want? But as I say, that's not our job. That's Rooney's job.
Can I just say,
I
Alan,
don't want somebody making a mistake as long as they try.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know what though, Craig, and I hate to keep going back to it, but playing the fullbacks too high on the field is putting too much pressure on our number 6, either that's Bellic or Sonic or anybody. The problem is Man City get away with it and do it well because they got Rodri in their team, who's the best number 6 in the world for me, or one of them. We have got Bellic, Sonic, James. We don't have the quality of player to play the position that he wants them to play in when he's only got 2 centre-backs at the back and he's got his full-backs playing as wingers. This is the problem, and we're going to continue to keep on at our 6s and say they're not good enough. They're not good enough because they're playing in a system that doesn't work for the team we have around us.
Right, 100%.
They're just exposed, aren't they?
Yeah.
And Paul, you've definitely started summing off, mate, because we've had some great ones through, actually. So just as we're wrapping up, I'm just going to read out a few of them. With Ricky Otter. We've got Bert Troutman.
Otter's not a fish, he said a mammal.
Tuna.
Picky, but
It's a good one. Darren Rowbottom.
Yeah, right.
Shark Roberts. Lucas Djukovic. I don't,
Beach isn't really aquatic, is it?
David Seaweed. Ronan Whale. What else have we got that we haven't seen before?
John Bass.
John Bass. Adam Wilkes has definitely been thinking too much about this because Shoal Amiobi.
Yeah, that's good.
Very good.
Okay, then, Claire, it's up to you to play us out. We'll run over.
Right. Well, I thought because Paul was back, I didn't have to
No,
do this thing.
you're the boss tonight.
So let's see what happens. So what are our predictions before we go?
Oh, good.
Are we having any?
Oh, God. Wednesday, I'll go... Oh, God, it's hard, isn't it? Because I think we're going to lose. I'm going to go 2-1 Wednesday. Yeah, 2-1 to Cardiff, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
4-0.
Are we all saying a loss?
4-0.
I'm
4-0.
losing. 2-0 both games. We're losing 2-0 both games.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry, I didn't do Leicester.
Oh, yeah.
Leicester, I'll go 2-1 to Leicester as well. 2-2-1s.
2-2-1s, 2-2-0s.
I think we'll lose. I think we'll lose to Cardiff 2-1, and I think we'll lose to Leicester 3-0.
Craig?
I think we'll lose to Cardiff 2-1. And as much as I don't want to say, it could be 4 against Leicester.
Yeah,
so.
3 or 4, 3-0 Leicester. I hate talking like that.
Please prove me wrong.
Of course, I know where you're all coming from, but I'm going to say we're going to sneak a point at Cardiff and not get thrashed against Leicester. It'll only be 2-1. 2-1. It won't be a 4-0. It won't be a 4-0.
Chris?
Yeah, crocky. Yeah, I can see 4 goals in both games. We might. It could be a 4-0 and a 4-1. I think. Sorry.
I'm going to go 2-1 Blues on Wednesday. I'm going to be optimistic.
Yeah, you don't believe that, do you? Really?
No, I don't. And I think we're going to get battered against Leicester. So hopefully I will be wrong, but hopefully right against Cardiff. Right then,
sorry, Claire. I was just going to say I'm in Caerphilly now as I speak to you, and I'm going to sprinkle some blue stardust all over Cardiff. So
It's
Well, thank you all for watching, and it's a good night from me. Paul?
Good night from me. Good night from Mark Meredith.
It's a good night from me, and it's a good night from the Robe.
It's good night from me. It's a good night from Mr. Courtney.
a good night from me, and it's a good night from the chairman.
And it's a good night from me, and a good night from Miss Browne.
And it's a good night from me. Good night.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night.
All the best.
Good night, Craig.
Has he left yet?
I need a word.
Good night. all.
Mark, you might get some friends soon.
I've got to slap out in a minute.
Craig, what's it like being 60?
He does
It's as
look
good
old.
as it was when I was 59.
Just double check here.
I thought he was older than that.
Are you serious, Craig?
I look good for the age, then. Oh, what's that?
No, I think you're doing all right, mate.
It's a great face for the radio.
Let's talk over.
Any friends in America, Mark?
Oh, no,
What
no.
are friends like over there?
Any friends?
I'm going to get orange jumpsuits on and Velma. It's in, you'll be fine.
Oh, I've met them before. They're all right, they are.
I think it's like a real life safe park over there, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, I love it. I wouldn't even tell them about Road because I want to be liked.
It's not
Bloody
a
lovely that is.
Kimono,
Kimono.
Kimono, mate.
That's it.
You are the kimono.
That's a dragon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Up the Giblin.
Rotherham have just signed a new manager who's not John Eustace.
Who's that?
Oh, who is it?
I don't know.
I think he'll
Never
go
heard of him.